Alrighty, welcome to the kallzu SEO coaching call. This call is actually applicable to both kallzu SEO members and AdWords on that. So if regardless of where you're coming from today, whether it's SEO or the kallzu ads, all the material today will be applicable to you on that. And today is of course Saturday, April 15th. And for me, it's actually Sunday morning. I am at least 11 hours ahead of most people on the call here. So this is what we're going to go over today on this end of it. How to price your leads regardless of your niche. It seems like it was a big topic. There was a thread in the Facebook group, and so I thought, well, this is a topic that we need to address again and circle back around and talk about it. It seems we get quite a few questions about it. How to make more by actually charging less, and really understanding all the objections before they arise. And these are normal objections that any type of customers, business owners out there are going to have. So you might as well bring them up before they do. That's the whole key with that. And when you start thinking about it, it just makes sense. You would do the same thing, right? So before we get started with that end of it, I want to talk about a topic that is near to me. I can certainly relate to it. I'm sure a lot of you out there can, and that's just a lot of people ask all the time. They say, how do you succeed at various things, whether it be in health or wealth or business or whatever. And what I've found, and I think you'll probably agree or can relate to me, is that your biggest challenge, your biggest obstacle is usually not knowledge. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's not some secret information. It's not that you were cut from the wrong cloth or anything like that. Usually it's just getting out of your own way. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times we have our own we're kind of pre-programmed, right? I know I'll give a reference and an example back to really for me when it all started, and I had the biggest shift in my life was when I was 41 back in, was it 2007, 2008? It's been a while now. And I came across Bill Phillips' Transformation, and it was a contest, and first prize was like $50,000, and I was really broke. I needed the money. I was unemployed. I was a rolling 90 on my mortgage. Things were not good at all. And Bill Phillips is really the original person out there to do those kind of before and after photos. Now everyone does it, and you just kind of assume that everyone did it, but I'm pretty sure he was the first one who did it, and the first one on a large scale to offer prizes for that, and for different categories, men and women and age groups and stuff like this. And anyways, I remember for years of my life, and if some of you see my before and after pictures, I was really a nice way to put it, a kind of a chunky monkey. I was really chubby, very overweight, had eating problems and stuff like this. But I remember very clearly and seeing, particularly when I was even in my early 20s and mid 30s, seeing other fit people my age, males, and thinking to myself, oh yeah, I need to start working out. Got to start working out again. I need to get back into the gym and all that kind of stuff. And then it would happen all the time. Right after I would see somebody who was fit like that, I would immediately go, oh yeah, I want to do that. Oh, I need to get fit like that. Then there would all be all these little afterthoughts that weren't necessarily crystal clear. They were more like feelings, but it would be stuff like I would have little afterthoughts like, man, I bet that person spends their whole life in the gym. They must be missing out on a lot. Or I bet the person looks in the mirror all the time at themselves. They must be really vain. Or, man, I bet that person just isn't very smart, right? No one that fit can possibly be intelligent. Person must be like a waiter or a bartender. It couldn't possibly hold like a professional job. And nothing against bartenders or waitresses out there. They're some of the hardest working people in the workforce. But at the same time, I would have these contradictory feelings towards something that I thought I wanted to be fit and vibrant, but at the same time, I had all this other baggage about it. So it would inevitably come back to hurt me every single time. So I would start in the gym, start working out, then it would happen all the time. I would end up stopping very shortly. May not even make it a week in the gym, let alone with eating healthier. And it's no surprise, right? Because I had all of these afterthoughts of, I didn't want to be, who wants to be vain? Who wants to be stupid? I had all these associations: vanity, not intelligent, stupid, spend all your time doing one thing, self-centered. Who wants to be all those things, right? So those were all the feelings I had wrapped around being fit. I don't know if you can relate to that or not. Hopefully you can on some level. The same is true for people who are successful. You may see somebody who's successful, might be a friend, a neighbor, or somebody you read about, and your initial thoughts might be very similar. Might be something like, wow, I'd like to get out of my job and be successful like that. And then the afterthoughts come in, right? You get in your own way. It's like, yeah, but I don't have the technical skills to do that. Or I kind of missed the boat on all that online stuff. I'm too old. Or that's too complicated, or all those people who, make money online they're all just scammers, or I could never create the next Uber or Facebook, which is ridiculous, right? Nobody needs to do that, and of course a lot of people try to do it, and they can go for it, but very few people are ever going to achieve that. But anybody, and I mean anybody, can replace an income, and especially this day and age online, there's just so many different opportunities out there. But like weight loss, like getting fit, like coming online, a lot of times we get in our own way. So I would remind you and encourage you just to be aware. Sometimes these thoughts don't come as clearly as maybe I'm describing them right now. They might come up more as a feeling, and you may have lived with it for such a long time that you may not even be aware of it. It's something that you may think you want to do. You go out and you try it, you tempt it, but you sabotage yourself. Okay, they're very, very real things on the end of it. So I still do the same things today. It's always kind of a 2 steps back, 4 steps forward kind of thing, right? So we're all human. No one's perfect on that end of it. But once you get some momentum going and some success under your belt, pretty soon it just becomes your natural way of life, just like maybe your natural way of life is right now. So anyways, enough of that. Just get out of your own way, right? That's usually the biggest obstacle right there. It's not more knowledge, it's nothing like that. It's just getting out of your own way and taking action, right? Okay. So let's talk about how to price leads on here. People ask this all the time. So there is no uh, straightforward A to B way to price leads. You have to do a little bit of research, but as I'll show you, you'll see it's very easy to do, but it takes a little bit of searching around about here. So the first thing is we just search for leads plus your niche name. I'm going to show you an example here. You want to research Google for like the average revenue per sale. So you might search for something, how much does it cost for, plus your niche name. And as examples that I'll show you, you're going to see that Google will give you a lot of suggestions. And you'll quickly find out that there's a lot of information out there that you can find out. And you can also, when you're doing this, you want to kind of realize that, and each niche is going to be slightly different. So this is on the very low end, but this is also a good model initially to price out your calls. Once we've done the first two steps in here, search Google for leads plus a niche name, you want to buy leads on here, then you want to find out how much does it cost for a particular service, and some niches will have different costs for different services out there, so you got to kind of take that stuff in collectively. And then on average, if you deliver 10 calls, this is low average, you can, as far as calculating out the prices, you can say that an average business will close around 3 sales. Now, all depends if it's more of an urgency niche. It's like a DOI attorney, emergency plumber on that. Someone's locked out of their car. Pretty much the first person who picks up the phone and is available and is reasonable in the price is probably going to get sales. So out of 10 of those kind of emergency more calls, they're probably going to close on the upper end, like 5, 6, or 7 out of 10 calls. Okay, and on that, so let's take a look at that. Let's hop online here. And the last thing on that, you want to make sure that you and your client, you both have to make a profit in this in order to make this work. So let's take a look at this on here. So I just typed in here, look, if I just typed in here, so plumber leads on here, plumber leads on that. This is, I'm ending up here with actually quite a bit. There's a lot in here that you could start to click on and research. I'm showing up UK because I guess Google thinks I'm closest to there right now. But this is one of them on here. Just clicked on here. You're going to find out there's a lot of these out here. Local drivers, guaranteed calls and leads. So this is some kind of pay-per-call service. And if right now you're thinking, oh geez, there's someone else doing this, there's no room in the marketplace. You just got in your own way. Okay, you just got in your own way. Get out of your own way. Remove your limiting beliefs on here. And this is, you're going to find a lot of different sites like this where there's a pay-per-call. They could be doing pay-per-click. They could be doing SEO. You want to fill out the information and find out on here. But this is really big business on here. Look, whether this is true or not, I don't know, but they're probably somewhere close to that. Last month we had over 53,000 homeowner requests on here. If you do a little bit more research on the same site, there's many of them out there for you, you're going to have frequent questions on here. What's the difference between a shared and an exclusive lead on here? How will I track the calls on this end of it? What if I want to pause or cancel account? What guarantee do you have the program will work for me on here? We minimize the risk of eliminating setup fees, long-term contracts. After that, every business is unique. As we mentioned above, we could send the same 10 calls to 2 businesses with 1 converting. Anyways, you can go through these and kind of get a feel for it. Eventually, what I would recommend, some of them will, how much I charge for this, some of them on here that will list their price per call. Some of them won't on here. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with filling out the form and posing as a customer, just window shopping and finding out what they charge. It doesn't mean that's what you'll charge, but you'll start to get some research on here. These are for calls. There's going to be many for email leads on here that you're going to find. But understand that these people have done all of the research. They're in business. They've got a price per call or per lead, and it's tested. They've already tested with the marketplace, so they're going to usually be firm in that price on that. And so you can leverage off of all of their hard work. Okay. So there's literally, you could even look. They have affiliate sales. You could look in and you could find out. You could pose as an affiliate on here, and you could find out what they're going to pay you to deliver a lead on here. It can all give you clues as to what the market will bear for this. Next thing, and again, you can do this any kind of niche. All I did here was I just searched in plumber job leads on here. You could be in any type of niche whatsoever. It does not require dentist buy dentist leads. Just using this down here. Leads that contact you, pay-per call. There's eLocal again. Okay. So they don't just do plumber, they do dental on this end of it. They're a fairly substantial company. So, and they do lots of different niches. So it would really be in your best interest to contact them. You can usually contact them, fill out their form. They usually give you an option to either contact by email or phone. Don't be afraid to do it by phone. Pose as a customer. Ask them general questions, and you'll end up getting their price per lead. Again, they've done all the work for you on this end of it. Wake up to new leads every day. Email, phone, address on here. Prime leads on here. These guys specialize just in, looks like dental on here. Pricing. Let's see what they do. A lot of times if they're email leads, they're almost always going to be shared on here. And they've got different ones on here. Anyways, you can go through here and getting prices and details. Probably I'm going to have to fill out some information. Yeah, that's fine. That's what they're doing. A lot of them do it that way because they know that if they can get an opportunity to talk with the client, present with them the value, and you can listen to their presentations and you can learn from them. Why not contact 5 of these, a dozen of these on here, and listen to their sales pitch, get their prices on here, record the phone calls yourself on here so you can go back and take notes and you can leverage off of all of their experience on here. Okay. Next thing on here, you can type in how much does it cost for a plumber to unclog a toilet. If I just start to put this in here, you can see what Google's on here. These are usually in order of what's most popular in your area for the searches on here. So unclog toilet, snaking, fix a toilet, fix a leak, install a toilet. On here, install a garbage disposal. You can start to get an idea about some of the rates on here. And I mean, Google's it's incredible the amount of information you get with just a little bit. So prices, and this is from Angie's List, so they know prices vary, depends on the marketplace on here. An average cost to clear a tub, kitchen, or bathroom drain runs between $100 to $214. Okay. And that removing a clog from a laundry drain costs a little bit more, okay, on here. So you start to get all these averages and stuff. And if the thought of that kind of scares you or gets you worried on that of it, because obviously some of these other things on here, what does it cost for a plumber to do other things in here? What percentage? What about a to install a toilet? How about to fix a leak on here? Again, $160 to $413. The price ranges. These are low-end stuff too, that normally lead to a lot of other things. Obviously, other plumber services are going to can cost thousands of dollars on here. Or what is it? How much does it cost for a plumber to fix a hot water heater? You have to know your hot water heater. You have to know what your niche is. All the prices are here. So we're starting to get it all ready for like the general kind of things that people call hot water heater on here. That's to repair on that. That obviously this doesn't include the cost of the hot water. Most hot water heaters are going to cost at least this much, plus to come out and deliver it and install it, all that kind of stuff. So you sort of get an idea. So between going out there and searching for your leads, how much for leads or to buy leads, plus your niche name, and Google gives you so many suggestions, you could see how many other sources that we got out there. How you can research for the average cost on that. There's just so much information out there, and you start to copy this stuff down, you're going to start to see some patterns on that end of it. I'll also show you too how you can also factor into this also with Google AdWords pay-per-click, because a lot of businesses do that as well. And at the end of the day, you just have to remember really what you want to do is kind of lead more with a value rather than just thinking only about how much you're going to make with this. Okay, so this is what happens is that when people are pricing the leads, you want to think scale. I see a lot of people just completely stuck on that, on just one city, and they're just like, how much am I going to make off of this one site that I'm ranking, or this one city that I'm delivering Google AdWords pay-per-call ads to? And I really encourage you to think larger, think scale on here, because if you have one city, say just getting 5 qualified calls per week, $12 a call, that's just $240 a month. If you get really focused in on just that, then you're going to start saying, well, geez, I wonder if I could charge $20 per call. Can I do that? Or $25 or $30 on here, because you're just focused on that one city, when really this is a business about scaling on here. Look at the eLocal. They're right there on the website advertising that over 53,000 businesses have contacted them about leads. So you want to think thousands, 10,000 on here. Don't 50 cities is super easy. So 50 cities, same low average per week. Now it starts to become something that's fairly substantial, $12,000 per month. So again, think more in scale. Think scale. Don't just get stuck with one city, one AdWords pay-per-call campaign. You want to think scale. Get this thing working in one city, then you scale this thing out. Also, too, when in doubt, after you've done all your research out there, when in doubt, if you're not quite sure, always lean towards undercharging rather than overcharging. And the reason is that it's actually going to cost you less if you charge a little less than what you think or what the market is going to bear. And the reason is that if you're charging the absolute maximum, I guarantee you're going to lose any of the profit that you thought you would make by managing, and it is managing the calls, the extra customer service for your clients, because they're going to be counting every single call on here, and they're going to be contacting you and going through and say, well, this one wasn't that qualified or that, and you're going to end up, and especially as you start to scale this, you're going to have to hire a whole service team just to manage that, because the price is so high. It's much easier What you want ideally is clients that pay on time, all the time, and never contact you. That's the ideal customer, and you can help produce that if you've got calls that are low in price, but you make a profit, so does the client. Everyone's happy. Happy customers are quiet customers. Okay? All right. Let's move on here. Objections. You're going to get objections no matter what you do. It's not just in this business, it's in every business in the world. There's going to be objections. There's people out there who have been burnt. We've all been, thought we bought something that sounded like the best thing in the world, and once we get it, we find out it's not what we were promised. So, and this has happened many, many times with local business owners. They've been burned all the way from the beginning for the last 8 years. They've had people contacting them, offering the sky and the moon, and they end up under delivering instead of over delivering on here. And these are just some of them, but we'll go through each one of these in more detail. But it will start to get you thinking that you want to present these things, you want to bring them up before they come up, before the customer brings them up on here. A lot of the common ones, I see these all the time in the chat box. Someone will say, no one wants to buy one of these. They say they actually pay less with Google pay-per-click. Actually, they don't, and you need to understand that. We're going to go over that in detail. We only pay per closed sale, not per call. Okay. How do I know that the calls are real? And then finally, you want to reverse engineer all risks out for the customer. So let's go over these one by one and dive into a little bit deeper. Okay, so someone might say something like, yeah, but we pay $10 per click. Why would I want to pay $20 per call? We pay less per click. This is very common. It surprises me every time, but it's almost the norm. They literally do not understand their numbers. They may be paying, and they won't even tell you this, they may be paying $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 per month in Google AdWords, and they still think that they're only paying per click, and they don't even understand on here how that really works, how much it actually costs to acquire a customer. They're completely clueless. They don't even know the math. So you need to be able to do the math for them. You need to understand this is your niche. You need to become an expert at it, particularly from the marketing side and the sales side of it, how the sales cycle goes, average cost. Okay. So you need to know, your top keywords. You don't need to know all your keywords for an AdWords campaign, which there can be many, but just the top ones, the top 4 or 5 or 10 ones, the ones that bring in the most searches, and what it costs for those on here. You must remind the customer of this, and remind them that it's just because they get a click on here doesn't mean that they get any business. A click is just a click, and realistically, and all niches are going to vary slightly, but realistically, on average, it easily takes about 6 clicks just to get a phone call. And understand that a click means zero business. It's just a click. It's just a click on a website. It's nothing else. So you want to fully understand what your top keywords are, Google AdWords, what the average charge is before you ever make contact, or before you ever even really price out your leads and you're ready to present them to prospects on here. You want to remind the prospects that a click on their AdWords is just a click. Doesn't mean they did any business. They just paid, depending on their keywords, somewhere between $10, $8, $12 more. Again, it depends on the niche on here. And just before the customer can even bring it up, you want to remind them that The only way that they can get business is to, and most, not all offline business owners, but almost 90% of them are fall into this. Is that unlike unlike shopping with even if you had e-com store or Shopify store and you're doing paid advertising, you're going to get some clicks, but you're not going to, you might end up getting 50, 60, 80 clicks, 20 clicks before someone actually buys something online, or with most local businesses, before the transaction is going to take place, they need to call. They call, make an appointment, maybe they need to make a bid, they need someone to come out to their home, something like this. Depends on the niche, right? But it all takes quite a few clicks before that actually happens on here. On average, again, depends on the niche, usually takes, with a Google pay-per-click for locals, about 6 clicks to get one call. And a lot of times you got to do the math for them, because even though they may be spending thousands of dollars per month, a lot of them just don't know the math. They literally don't know the math. They've got their credit card and the Google AdWords account, and it's taking out thousands of dollars per month, and they don't even know the math. They just know at the end of the month that they're still in business. Literally, most businesses run like that. It's very unfortunate on here. And so, if they're paying on average $10 per click, right? And each keyword's gonna be slightly different, but $10 per click, 4 clicks on that, they're gonna pay $40 for a call, and they can't start business until they get a call. And you're offering the same target of calls at a huge discount. It may not be exactly half, okay, but again, you got to do your research on that. So you need to point that out, that no, it's not a direct comparison. That's very simple thinking, and unfortunately, many business owners think like that. They just don't know where every dollar is. They don't even know what it costs their customer acquisition. This is another very common one. This is really small-minded on their part. Most business owners who offer this can sense from you that you're new, unsure of yourself, therefore they're unsure of you, and they're looking to reduce all the risk and hand all the risk over to you. I would encourage each and every one of you to never engage in something like this, because what will happen is that if a customer's, the only way we're going to do business is if you do a pay-per-close sale, not a pay-per-call. On here, you need to remind the customers on here that every business needs a steady and predictable source of low-cost leads. Like other forms of advertising, doesn't matter whether it's print, pay-per-call SEO, yellow pages, shared email leads. They're going to usually pay up front, and they're going to pay up front regardless of whether they get one single sale or not. Okay, it doesn't matter if it's print, television, radio, whatever. It's all up front. Okay, and there's no, well, don't pay anything, we're going to go into business with each other. No, that's not what you're in. You are experts at providing low-cost, targeted leads with zero risk to them. We'll get into that in a second. You're not in the business of doing a profit sharing or pay for only closed sales. In fact, remind them that, or even ask them, you don't know of any other form of advertising that does this. Does Yellow Pages do this? Does Google AdWords do this on here? Does any SEO company do this? Any shared email leads? It's like, we'll let you do all the advertising you want with Google, pay-per-click, and we'll just take whatever you close on your sales, we'll just take a percentage of that. That sounds like a good deal. That's not the business you're in. Okay, you want to be very clear about that. Make that part of your presentation. Make that part of your description of your services. Because this is not the way you want to do business, and a lot of times people who are new in this business and they're unsure of themselves, and they get somebody who's actually interested, and it's the first or second person that they've ever had contact with, and the person brings this up and they're like, yeah, it's sure, I'll do it, and it's going to end up being the biggest mistake you've ever made. They're not going to care for the leads as much because they have no skin in the game. You're the one who's actually taking all the risk. They're just cherry picking when they decide they're going to answer the phone and take the calls. They're not even going to try to close it that hard. It's going to be easy, right? No, that person probably didn't want it. That person's just window shopping. I don't need to pay for that lead. I'll wait for the easy ones to come in and say, yes, we need service right now. I can have someone in here right now. Here's my name, address, and phone number. And here's my credit card. That's not the business you're in. And nor are you competing against that, because there is no other form of advertising that does that. None. And you don't need to be the first, and there's a reason why other businesses don't offer that service. Okay? This is very common. I would, as a business owner, if I was looking at your services and stuff, I would be thinking the same thing. How do I know that the calls are real? How do I know you just don't have somebody from another country just calling in and pretending to be a customer on here? And, well, that's easy. Okay? So remember, with the kallzu, you get the white label program. Comes with it. There's no upsell to it. Very easy to do. And you're going to provide a username and password that kallzu generates, and the customer can log in at any time. They can see the time the number called in. They can see where the number called from, the area code, so they know it's from their local area on here. All calls are recorded, so they can listen to the calls on here. They show the number of missed calls, number of answered calls on here. Let them know that you're never charged more than one time per prospect, and that's built into the system. So if one number calls in, kallzu remembers that number, and if that number calls back, then by default it's not charged for it. So the customer may call in and say, they might just be window shopping and say, hey, can I call you back? And they call back, or they've already scheduled an appointment, or they need to reschedule, and they're not going to be charged again for that. That's automatic. Not charged for wrong numbers or telemarketers on here. Unfortunately, it's the name of the business, is that you're going to get some wrong numbers. It just happens. And you're going to get some salespeople that are going to come across your form of advertising and whatnot and call. That's why we have the recorded calls on here, and that's why you have access on the back end. But as long as you're pricing these to fit in wrong numbers and telemarketers on here, it's not going to become a major issue at all. In fact, a lot of clients are happy. They're making good profits from here. An occasional wrong number or telemarketing call, they're not even going to think twice about it, because you haven't priced that so high that they have to start counting every single one. Okay. And then also to remind people saying here, yeah, but a lot of people just call, they're just shopping around. Well, of course they're shopping around. Don't you shop around? Whether you're doing pay-per-call, pay-per-click, print advertising, yellow pages, SEO, people will call and shop around. That's what consumers do. It's your responsibility to stop the customer and let them know that you don't need to shop around anymore. You just found the best place, and this is why, so on and so forth. It's their job to do that. It's not your job to close the call. Okay, it's just your job to deliver leads locally from their area. Okay, and we always offer 100% risk-free, and what that means is that just for, again, reminding the customers on here, does Google AdWords offer a 30-day money-back guarantee? If you've done Google AdWords before, that statement itself is almost laughable. Of course they don't. There is no, one of the largest companies in the world collecting billions upon billions of dollars per year in AdWords revenue does not need to charge a 30-day money-back guarantee. That's absurd. Neither will you. Print advertising. You're going to do some mailers or inserts in local newspapers. Do they offer a 30 back? No. They want money up front. It's going to take 2 to 3 weeks to deliver. All that money's tied up. They have no pay per performance, no guarantee, nothing like that. Does SEO offer a 30-day money back? No, they don't on that. A lot of other forms, depending on your niche, they might do email leads from various different sources out there. You need to know what they are and how those are priced as well, by the way. They don't offer any kind of guarantee. Yellow Pages, no, you pay up front for the whole year. There's no guarantee on that. And of it, know that you're the only form of advertising that you're aware of, and if you know your niche well enough and you've done the research, then you can stand behind this claim with 100% confidence that stands behind the quality of your leads, so much so that you're willing to take on all the risk for the customer and just have a rolling every 30 days. For some reason you weren't happy with these calls, you can part way friends. And the thing is that there really is no risk to you for this or the customer. If you've priced it correctly, you're delivering the calls correctly, the local business owner is never going to want to stop getting those leads as long as they're making a profit. They would be shooting themselves in the foot. Now, if you've got unqualified calls, the price too high, and at the end of the month they're losing money off of your leads rather than making a profit, well, then they're going to ask for the 30-day guarantee that you offered. But if you price it correctly, they want to keep doing that month after month, year after year. It's just very, very simple, very basic math. If they hand you $100 bill and every month, and at the end of the month you hand them back $500, well, they're going to want to do that every single month, of course, right? So when you compare this guarantee to everything else out there, this really puts you in a position where it's unique. There's no contracts either. Almost all of these other services, AdWords doesn't have a contract, but usually print advertising, a lot of SEOs will have some kind of 3 or 6 month contract, and you're not offering any of that. Okay, so this is really, really positioned yourself as some of the best and the only option that people would kind of put it in such a way that seems kind of ridiculous of why they wouldn't, why wouldn't they want to do this? And if you follow in the course, both in AdWords, kallzu ads, and in kallzu SEO, customer acquisition is the same. And just follow that in there, and that's you're basically having the leads come in. Either you are taking the leads that come in, or you can use the services that we recommend, which is Jill's office. Have them take the calls for you, and then you've got the top 3 prospects in your area that you want to do business with, and don't just randomly pick them. And it's these top 3 plumbers. No, you want to actually make sure and do a little bit of research that those top providers in the niche that you're in that area, ideally do AdWords, ideally are on page 1. When you call them up and pose as a customer, do they answer the phone on time? When they answer the phone, are they polite and professional in answering your calls? Or are they trying to get you, or do they seem rushed and busy and stuff? Because this is going to give you an insight and a window into how they will treat your leads eventually, and you want a very professional service to be taken. You'd be surprised, and some of you who are already on your way here, and you're seeing how a lot of these businesses, when you start delivering calls, they're missing. They're just not answering the call, and that's their responsibility. And a lot of them aren't even aware of it until you bring it up. It's another reason to make sure that every client that you do business with, that you start a relationship with, that they have access to the back end. They have a username and password. They're able to see the calls that came in that day, listen to the phone calls, how many were missed, how many were answered. And especially in the beginning of the relationship, I highly recommend that you email them. You take a screenshot of the little graph that we've got back there showing the missed calls, the answered calls, even listen to a few of the phone calls, give them some feedback. They may be too busy, not familiar with it, not know how to use it, not see the value in it. And if they are missing some calls, which unfortunately many will, there'll be a high percentage that they just won't answer the calls. Not every niche, but you'd really be shocked. And understand that they don't realize it. If you're delivering the calls and they're missing 20% of the phone call, they're just not answering it during business hours, then they must be doing the same with all other forms of advertising that they do. And you just can't afford that. Okay. Alrighty, so let's turn it over to questions and answers on here. Let me open up the chat box. Okay, good. Still got lots of people on the call. Alrighty, so let me scoot this stuff over. Expand out this chat box. And we'll move right in. Make a pretty good time on here. Okay, so good. All right, so I think we answered that in here, but I'll be happy to answer it again on there. Do we get paid per call or paid on how many calls convert to sales? I answered that. Definitely you do not want to. You're not in the business of closing their sales. You're in the business of delivering qualified prospects, people who are interested in their services. They might be window shopping, okay, but it's the job of the business owners and their team to take that call seriously, have skin in the game, and close that. And they're not going to close every sale. Do they close every sale from their other forms of advertising? No. Does any other advertising out there offer or go into business with them? No. If we're going to business with them, now you become you're an expert at delivering the qualified calls. You're not a plumber. You don't know anything about the plumbing business. Are you going to take a percentage of the company now? That's just not the business that you're in. And anyone who offers that is really, it's just a very immature and very irresponsible. They're going to be very irresponsible with their leads on here. How can we get a copy of the Home Advisor's price sheets? Don't have a copy of it. I'm sure you could find it around, but I've shown some methods on here. If you just start searching around Google, you're going to find some on here. You're going to find enough research. I'm sure you may or may not stumble across it, and you don't necessarily need it on that end of it. This course is recorded. Yeah. Shared leads and pay-per-click is like buying a lottery ticket. I like that, John. It's a good way to look at it. I definitely agree on here. Yeah, all advertising is pay up front. You pay to have a website built, so people will call you, right? That's a great way to put it, too, Rick. I like that. It's very good, and that's a great way to add that in. It's like you pay for a website, right? And then on that. Okay. Okay. So Robert asks, Chris, do you know any outsourced sales organizations that take a majority of the closed sales price that we could refer to these kind of objections to? Look, it doesn't matter. I mean, one of the things that everyone needs to kind of wrap their head around and just accept it is that it doesn't matter what kind of business you're in, you have to close a sale. Okay, you have to close a sale, and it's something that I would discourage you from just outsourcing from the very get-go. If you do outsource it, you have to manage these people. These people will never, no one in the world will care even half as much about your business as you do. And they won't try half as hard. It's just a fact of reality. Okay, very rarely would you get one person that actually even comes close to caring as much as you do. So that's why I'm always talking about you have to create systems and checks, balances, and in your business. And if you, I would encourage you to do this on your own so that you understand you're in the front lines. You know what it's like to be there. Therefore, you know how to do the job. Therefore, you can teach the job. Therefore, you can monitor the job. Therefore, you know whether someone else is, you can judge the quality of how they're doing it. Now, no one's ever going to do or care as much as you do. That's just a fact of life. And that's okay. They don't need to. As long as you've got systems and checks and balances in place, you're going to be just fine. But you can look, if you look on Upwork, first of all, you can use Jill's office. They're not for closing. They're basically taking the calls that come in. And if you're not familiar with that, just look it up on in the members area. It works all the time. As long as the business wants and needs more, they're gonna it's gonna work. And you've already proven yourself. You're already giving out more leads on that. They know that they work. You've had Jill's office or yourself contact them either by email or by phone to see how they treated the leads. So you also, not only have you pre-screened them before by posing as a customer and seeing if they've done paid advertising, are they on page one? When you call and pose a customer, are they answering it friendly and stuff like this? Did they treat your lead? Again, that's all outlined in the course. I don't want to go over it again here, but you can check that out there. Then it's really not a matter of closing. It's just a matter of, it's really like a questions and answers type of conversation. But if you wanted to outsource that, you want to make sure that those calls are recorded so that you can monitor them. You're going to want to know your KPIs, your key performance indicators. Did they contact 5 businesses? Was each call recorded? Then you know for sure how they're doing. You don't just hand it over to somebody else because they're, oh, I'm a salesperson, pay me $20 per hour, blah blah blah, and then they're not going to get anything for you. You're going to want to monitor and do that and know exactly what the performance is. Upwork is a great place, formerly Odesk, and you can search for telemarketers, and don't go for the cheapest. The cheapest will always cost you 100 times more. They could even put you out of business too. So you want to hire only the best. And when you do that, you're going to want to look for somebody who has the most hours, because it always lists the most hours on that end of it. I don't necessarily want to log in on my Upwork account, so we could use them. But let me see if we can just look it up. You can find somebody that has the most hours and the most hours, meaning that they've, maybe they've been hired by 4,000 hours or whatever, and they all have really good stars on here. Yeah, I don't want to log in because it's going to show a lot of stuff I don't want. But you can log in and search by that, and you can find some really good ones on here. Let's see here. Yep, exactly. Okay, good. Okay, good question, David. How do you handle missed calls? It's their responsibility to pick up the phone. Okay, so they're going to be charged for a missed call. We always, because otherwise they don't care. It's like, I don't need to answer that, or I don't need to monitor and see if my employees are answering the phone calls. Okay, I mean, you're only in business if you have people calling your business, and you can assume if someone's only calling your business if they're really highly interested in it, you better pick up the phone. Okay. So no, they answer the phone call. Again, that's why you pre-screen them. You might want to call back a couple times, different times during the week. Every time I've called during business hours, whether it was their business hours on the weekend or during the weekdays, they've always answered the phone. That's a good sign, right? Brian asked, how do you spot problematic customers? Pretty much gone over them now. Someone who doesn't, when you pose as a customer and call them and they don't answer the phone, that's a problem. They don't do other forms of advertising, that's a problem. They want to basically go into business with you and only be charged per closed deal. They might even try to sweeten the deal up and offer you a certain percentage of it. No, don't. That means they have no money. That means they're broke, and they're broke for a reason, because they can't run their business properly. There's a lot of businesses out there that don't know how to run a business you do not want to work with. The 30-day money-back guarantee is good only for the first 30 days or every month. We offer every month because, look, and the reason is because they're not, as long as they're making a profit, as long as they're handing you $100 and at the end of the month you're handing them back $500, why would they cancel? There'd be no reason to. The only reason they're going to cancel is because they're losing money. And they're only going to lose money if they don't know how to properly manage the calls, and you've overpriced it. It's the only reason. So it's just reverse engineering your risk for them, but you've already pre-screened and pre-qualified them. Okay. Well, Jill's office handle calls from Canada. It's pretty much the same time zone as the U.S. So yeah, as far as I know, they do. You can contact them and find out. I'm 99% sure that you do this. Okay. My family has an automotive repair shop. Is this a good niche? Douglas, if there is, automobiles are very abundant, and automobiles wear down, and they need service. So that niche itself is not going anywhere. But you want to go through module 1, and if it fits through the initial data through there, then and it goes through that, then you'll know for sure. But initially looking at it, there are no red flags on here. I personally prefer niches where the service is going to the customer, whereas maybe this is an automotive repair shop, and the customer's going to them. So, but if they offer, like emergency roadside service, a mobile mechanic, they go out to the customer, then that's definitely, I would take that over a stationary shop on here. How does the 30-day guarantee work again, and what percentage of clients ask for the money back? Yeah, Gary, it's all fear-based on here. Look, as long as you're providing, again, as long as the business owner is investing and at the end of the month they get all of their money back plus more, there's no reason why they would ever want to cancel. Plus, you're going to be offering, particularly with newer clients in the beginning, every couple of days, every week, you're going to want to email them some screenshots and some notes you've noticed on the calls that are coming in, and reminding them to log in and take a look at it. Hey, I noticed last week we got 3 of those phone calls we delivered did not get answered. Here are their phone numbers. Please call them back. In order for you and I to stay in business, you gotta answer your phone calls. These are people who are calling you. These are very, very warm leads on here. You've got to answer your phone calls. Again, if you pre-screen the clients correctly, you're not going to get into this kind of issue. Does the business need a website? Look, if the business doesn't have a website, I'm probably not going to do business with them. How do they get? I don't even know how they would get leads. How would they get any business now if they don't have a website on that? But there's always exceptions to the rule. If you find out they don't have a website, but you're calling them and they're always professional, answering on the phone, I personally would just not even do business with them. I mean, who doesn't have especially a local business, who doesn't have a website, is not serious about their business. They're not going to be serious. These are bottom feeders. You don't want to deal with that. They're going to give you the most problems, the most headaches. These are people that are going to put you out of business. Dave says here, I have a couple of customers that do SEO and website design. How can I find good keywords with good search volume on here? I've watched all your videos. Dave, yeah. If you've got, this is something else too. If you've got it, sometimes it's a good thing, but a lot of times it's not. So people come in this business and they go, I've got a friend of a friend, our friend who, has got this business, an automotive business, or they've got a website design business. So I already know them, so now I don't have to call or deal with any of the stuff that you've been talking about for the past hour. I've already got a ready-made customer right there on that. But look, if they don't fit the pay-per-call model, then you don't do it. You pass on and you go on. I've seen many, many times, particularly people new in this, a friend of a friend learns that they're starting this business. They're like, oh, I could use some more business. Maybe you could help me out. And it just ends up, more times than not, I mean many times more times than not, it ends up just being a disaster. You end up compromising, not following the guidelines of what a good pay-per-call niche would be. I would not go into SEO and website design. That's just not. It's not something I would go into. I mean, you could make it work, but there's a lot better ways to go, and it's just it doesn't fit the model here. Someone recently said a family owns and I wouldn't go into business with family either. It's just another rule. Wouldn't do. Because you can't really, it's hard to fire an aunt, an uncle, brother, or sister. I just would not get into it. Automotive, if their automotive is in one place, maybe they only do a certain amount of cars or whatever on here, the radius of where they're going to be doing business is going to be very limited. And I would prefer in the automotive niche where that's a mobile niche, or that's a niche where you're going out to the customer, not the customer's going to you. Alrighty. Which niche should a newbie go after first? This is all covered in Module 1, Brian. Mostly walk-in and referrals. Good location. Yep, exactly. And then that's another thing. I mean, you might have, your friend's business or relative's business probably gets maybe they get a lot of business from referrals and walk-ins, and people just don't do it online. Again, it doesn't fit our business model. Yeah, exactly, Tom. Tom states in here, nowadays websites are like business cards. Most professionals have them. Yeah, anybody you want to do business with has them. Douglas asks on here, does the domain chosen need to be a real business name? I cover that in detail in the course on that. So And if you're not sure where that is within the course, contact support at kallzu.com. They can direct you that. Alrighty, it says on here, I have not plugged into the pay-per-call much as of yet. Is it easier to start with AdWords model with William or with SEO? It depends on you. Neither one is going to be. They're just different. But I would start with either one or the other, and go in 110%. Don't just dabble in it. Don't look at this and treat this as a make money online course, but treat it as a business. Understand there's a huge mind shift difference in that. Most people will fail at this because they just look at it as a little online course to make money, and you're just you have to treat this as a business, a real business. Otherwise, it's just not going to work. The SEO or the AdWords with our head coach there with William, both of them are fantastic. Just depends, maybe you have a little more experience in one or the other. The AdWords is going to be faster and quicker. There's no doubt about it. And if you're a current valid kallzu member, whether for our ecom with Sean or with the SEO with me, then you get a huge discount as being a current member with the paper AdWords course and training and coaching and the weekly coaching calls, and he does an amazing job. So, but eventually the end goal is that I would have both in your business model, because that provides you two sources of traffic. It diversifies your risk. I wouldn't put all eggs in one basket. You wouldn't want to put everything you've got just solely into SEO. Get that built up, get that moving along, and then once you've got that going, you've got some revenue coming in, then you want to add the AdWords. And now you've got two sources of income coming in. You've got two sources of traffic. It's the same thing, traffic and income. You've got the SEO, organic, and you've got the ads. And also don't think of the mindset that the SEO is free, right? We all know SEO is not free, right? It takes time, and your time is not free. And you've got to get backlinks, and you've got to get content. It's not free, okay? And with pay-per-call AdWords, you had a huge advantage with that versus pay-per-click, because it cost about 50 to 80% less per live call when you do the math. And I've already done that here. It's just more expensive to get that end call with pay-per-click than it is for pay-per-call. Pay-per-call, an average, for example, plumber, an average keyword for a plumber in an average sized city is going to be about $20 per click. You're going to need at least 4 clicks to get a call, so that's $80 for a call. And when you look at AdWords, pay-per-call, they charge you for the call. It's going to be somewhere around $3 to $5. It's going to cost you. So, and there's a huge markup there you can charge the client. With the way that William teaches it, it does not cost that much. In fact, we just had, it changes a lot in here. I see it posted in there all the time. I'll look in the Facebook group right now. Whoops. And then somebody just posted in there. I was just looking at it last night. The internet's really slow here. May or may not work because the internet's so slow, but at least the call's not cutting out. here it is. It's just April 14th on here. Here's a little money type data for you. I recently added a new client, and here's this week's results. The campaign started late on Monday through Thursday. They got 24 calls or clicks, whatever, 8 qualified calls on here. It cost them $274.37, and the total revenue he collected was $1,000. So that's pretty darn good. You hand me, every week I hand Google AdWords $275, and they hand me back $1,000. I'm going to do that every single day of the week, and you can obviously collect on here on this end of it. But so it definitely works, and definitely faster on that end of it. And if you and there's plenty of, and William shows you how to do it. You can collect the money up front from the customer. So yeah, that's the difference there. So alrighty, let me answer a couple more, and then we'll wrap this up. Do you do Facebook ads on it? No, we don't. I always ask people, if you do Facebook ads on here, on this end of it, have you mastered in creating a regular income with SEO and or Google AdWords, or have you kind of dabbled in both and not really gotten a single dime from them, and now you're asking about the Facebook ads? And I'm not trying to come down on you personally hard. We get those kind of questions all the time, and my first thought is, but have you mastered the current proven ways of doing it? People tend to, particularly in these kind of online type courses, group kind of mentality, thinking it's always kind of like a butterfly going from one flower to the other, and never really doing anything with any of that stuff. It's kind of like, well, that kind of looks cool, kind of a little hard to work. Oh, look over here, here's another shiny object on here. But anyways, maybe you're not doing the shiny object thing. Appreciate the question. Not coming at you personally hard on that. So you're welcome, David. Okay, so I'll do 2 more questions, and then we'll wrap it up here. And if any of these, if I didn't get to your question and you need to get an answer, just contact support@kallzu.com, and they'll forward it to me, and I'll be happy to answer it for you. Or if they can answer it, they'll answer it for you. Chris, is there a workaround for California companies regarding phone recording, 2-party consensus for recording? Chris, as far as I know, on that end of it, as long as you're using the call whisperer that says, and I'm sure you've heard this before, on the end of it, that says this call may be recorded for quality control, and that's usually enough. And if they don't want it recorded, then they can just bolt off and take off. How are other companies handling it? Because a lot of companies do record the phone calls on that. I'm pretty sure that will do that. Okay. Let's see here. David asked, is there a fee that we can pay to have someone create a AdWords campaign that will convert and get customers on here? Dave, we provide in the AdWords kallzu ads, we provide all the training. William gets in there and will help you out with that stuff per how the course is outlined on that end of it. You can't hire somebody to go to the gym for you. You can't hire somebody to do your push-ups and sit-ups for you. I wouldn't want to hire another company to do my AdWords campaign. Now, I would want to, and I would encourage you to do this, is to leverage the resources that we have, the support that we have on that, end of it, because as we just showed you, there's successful people just yesterday posting, and there's a lot that just don't post because they're too busy. So the system works if you work the system, but saying, is there someone that can just set up an AdWords campaign that will convert and get customers? Is there a source out there that would do that? Is there a source that would also set up your websites and run your whole business for you that would convert and get customers? No. That exists in la fairyland. It doesn't exist in real life. Okay? You, as a business owner, have to use the resources, and we have plenty of resources on here. If you're following the course, doing the work, and you've got the questions on here, and you're having William look over your keywords, it's all part of the course. Having William look over your keywords, look over your AdWords copy, help you scale it, all that kind of stuff. You literally cannot fail. You can only fail yourself by not doing the work and leveraging that out. But if you're looking for others to just literally do your own push-ups for you, it ain't going to work, buddy. I don't know anything in life that's like that. You need to learn, go through the learning curve, the growing pains of learning it, doing it. You're not alone. Once you know that and you've got that down, because no one in the world is going to care for it as much as you. Nobody. Once you've got that down, and then you want to hire someone, now you're qualified to hire and train someone because you know what it takes to do a good AdWords campaign. Okay, can't just there's a whole nother thought in this kind of little course make money online course kind of businesses that are out there. There's this whole false notion. It sounds great, but it just doesn't exist in the world. Oh, we'll just outsource everything. Just Fiverr everything. It doesn't work, okay? That's why I'm always talking about systems, creating your dream teams, creating the training. You have to do that. You can't outsource that stuff. In this type of environment, you need to start out wearing multiple hats so that you know how that hat fits, how that hat is supposed to be worn, so that you can teach someone else and you can monitor someone else to do it. If you just hand it over to someone else, they're not a business owner. They're an employee mindset. Okay. Alrighty, that's it. On the end of it, this weekend we have our Bangkok live training event. For those of you who are coming, or already some of you have come early, then we look forward to meeting with you. We're going to have a great time. And then, of course, that's going to be professionally recorded, be available to everyone else on that. There'll be some really good stuff in there. It's all pure training. So have a great Saturday evening. Take care. Bye-bye.